Welcome back to another episode of Fantasy Football Semi Pros. I'm Brandon. With me is Ryan. Ryan, how are things going?
Well, my fantasy teams are doing great this week. Well, relatively good enough to pull off wins. But my pick'ems did not do so hot. So it's win-win, lose-lose.
Yeah,
tomato.
You gotta sacrifice somewhere.
Heads, tails. Yeah, can't win them all.
Alright, so before we get to Devon versus a coin...
I like games. Wow, there's a lot of buys this week.
There's 4. Not as bad as 2 weeks ago.
Oh, well, there's just a lot of long names in here.
Yep. So, I only got one, I think. There's been one quarterback who has thrown 2, or at least 2 passing touchdowns in every game so far this season. Who is it?
Not Tom Brady, because he had 3 yesterday. Hold on, it could be Tom Brady. Let me think. Yeah, it's Tom Brady.
Nope, it is not Tom Brady.
2 passing touchdowns in every game.
At least 2, yep.
No, not Aaron Rodgers, because he didn't throw any week 1, I don't believe. It's probably somebody you least expect. Is it Joe Burrow?
It is Joe Burrow.
Who I least expected.
I mean, he's looked good so far this year.
He hasn't looked bad.
All right, so.
And now, Devon versus the coin.
Oh, that was lame. We gotta do something about that.
I agree, we do need to find a better drop for it.
Alright, before we get started, we're just gonna go over week 8 here. You went 6-8.
That's not good.
Well,
Pending tonight's game.
Pending tonight's game, but there's 14 games this week.
Well,
No, you're right, 15.
Yeah.
15. So 6-8, 14.
I
Yeah.
said never bet against Tom Brady, and I should have apparently bet against Tom Brady.
Well, overall you have
I
a winning.
jinxed it.
Overall, you still have a
Sorry,
winning
Tom.
record of 71-50. So that's not bad.
That's not bad.
The coin.
I'll take it.
The coin this week is also 6-8, and I don't think we can see who the coin picked until later today.
I can't remember. I can figure it out for you.
Yeah, probably the. I think it was the Giants. Now that I think about it, but Devon picked the Chiefs. The coin.
I'd be leading the 4 of us if I didn't flip flop last night.
Yeah, well, I didn't. I stuck with the mantra of the team that shouldn't win is probably going to win. The Broncos should have beaten the Browns when they didn't have Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. Was their coach out too? One of their coordinators was out. I don't know. Anyway, and then Aaron Rodgers shouldn't have beat the Cardinals on Thursday.
The coin
night.
did take the Chiefs tonight.
Okay, so I think we all went Chiefs for tonight's game. But the coin overall is still 60-61, so you're still beating the coin overall. But
Somehow.
just barely.
Somehow.
So, we're going to go over week 9. And you have all your notes here, I see, on your little tiny sheet of paper. Okay.
Yes.
That you so desperately interrupted me during a phone call today, a work phone call.
I needed this pen.
You could have, there's a whole...
You know,
Dang it.
She needed
this is
that
the
pen
one that I
specifically.
saw, and this is the one that I
There's a
wanted.
big mason jar full of pens right there.
Well, there's so many cups.
Anyway, next week we're getting back to the regular scheduled programming of 14 games for the week, with 4 teams being on the bye, which is typically what you see. We saw some weird ones with 6 teams a couple weeks ago, and then 2 teams this week. So yeah, we'll be back to the normal. But next week's buys is the Detroit Lions. Sorry, everybody who has Hawkinson and Jared Goff. The Seattle Seahawks, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Washington football team are all on bye. So make sure your rosters are set next week. I feel like there's a lot of Buccaneers out there and Seahawks. Not a lot from the other ones. The Lions are football team. Okay, so starting off Thursday night. Okay.
Colts.
Well, I got to read it.
I'm ready.
The New York Jets, who just upset the first seed Bengals in the AFC.
Former first seed.
Former first seed. Bengals this weekend. are traveling to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. Are you sticking with the Colts?
Yeah, home team advantage.
The Jets just embarrassed the Bengals just yesterday.
That's the Bengals.
Yeah, you're right.
A lot of teams embarrassed.
Like I said, the Bengals were the first seed. If the playoffs would have started after last weekend.
But they didn't.
Okay, moving on. Colts. The coin also took the Colts. All right, Browns at Bengals. The Bengals are favored.
I actually picked the Bengals here.
The Bengals are favored by 2.5.
So if there's any team they can beat, it's the Browns.
That's true. Well, the coin also took the Browns.
No, I took the Bengals.
I know, but the coin also took the Browns.
Oh.
What?
He's confused because he doesn't buy the cord.
Can't get over the cord. All right, next game. Dak Prescott should be back for this one, maybe. Hopefully. Depends on... I mean, Cooper Rush looked pretty good last night. But the Denver Broncos travel to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. Cowboys favored by 8.5.
Cowboys.
You're going to stick with the Cowboys?
Yep.
Wow, man. This coin hates it this week. You place a bet on this coin, parlay bet, you might win $1 million on a dollar bet.
That sounds like I have good chances. Then.
Well, the coin took the Broncos. Hey, next game, Houston Texans travel to Miami to play the Dolphins, and the Dolphins are favored by 7.
Dolphins.
Wow. Texans might have Tyrod Taylor back, so that's kind of we'll see. Both teams' defenses are pretty poor. All right, coin took the Texans, though. You took the Dolphins, right?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
I mean, they're going to win really big against the coin or lose really hard.
Yeah. Next game, you got the Falcons at the Saints, and the Saints are favored by -5 points.
I went with the Saints.
Okay, the coin took the Falcons. Well, the Saints might be on their third-string quarterback, Trevor Siemian. Well, he led them to a victory against the Buccaneers yesterday, so who knows. Next game, Raiders coming off the bye to face the New York Giants. In
Raiders.
New York. You went with the Raiders, the coin went with the Giants. Well, yeah, you picked...
Am I the opposite of the coin the whole way so far, except the Colts?
Yeah, that's it. Wow. Okay, so Patriots favored by 3 travel to Carolina to play the Panthers.
I picked the Patriots.
Okay, the coin took the Panthers. Yeah, you're either losing big to the coin or you're kicking the coin's butt.
I like that.
All right.
Like
Until she loses
one or
big
the
to the
other.
coin.
Yeah, the Bills favored by 14 traveling to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars.
What was the Bills?
It's probably a good thing because the coin did as well. Next up,
now.
the disappointing Vikings versus the overrated Ravens.
I went with the overrated Ravens.
That's fair. The coin went with the Vikings, though.
Huh.
Yes. Quite curious. Chargers travel to Philly to take on the Eagles. The Eagles just destroyed the Lions, and the Chargers just got upset by the Patriots.
But I went with the Chargers. I'm not really sure why.
The coin did too.
It's just
That
this
probably.
feeling I had.
I picked the Chargers last week and they lost, or this week, but they lost. All right, Packers travel to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to have a short week coming off the Monday night game tonight.
Is it at home for the Chiefs?
Yes.
I wasn't sure about this, so I'm going to go with Chiefs.
The coin also said the Chiefs. It's an interesting matchup, for sure. All right, next up. A hurt Kyler Murray and the Cardinals traveled to San Francisco to take on the 49ers.
I went with Cardinals.
Okay, you know
having a good season?
they lost Thursday night to the Packers.
I know, because I picked the Cardinals.
Okay, well, the coin took the 49ers.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, it's a division opponent, so we never know. All right, next up, Sunday Night Football. Titans travel to LA to take on the Rams. Rams are favored by 6.5 points.
Rams it is.
Yeah, so did the coin. Monday night, the Chicago Bears travel to Heinz Field, the ketchup stadium, to face Big Ben and the Steelers.
The Steelers.
They are favored by 6.5 points. But the coin took the Bears.
Coin's wrong.
And that's it!
Literally speaking.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
What is she barking at? Oh. Alright, I just wanted to play that funny one. So Barbara's back now.
You know what else is funny?
Nation! I still remember everyone drafted before me. Bro, it was 5 guys! That's a good one.
Yeah, I keep saying we need to get more drops. And this is a segment where we need another drop for waiver wire ads.
Waiver wire. Ooh, riding the waves like a surf thing. Dun, Arriba.
We'll
Ariba.
just have you sing it.
Arriba.
We want to draw in viewers.
Fans not scare them
Oh,
away.
is that the goal?
Yeah.
So this one, I don't know that there's really a true go out and get it guy out here.
I don't know if Devontae Parker can stay healthy
Yes.
with the game he just had.
Yep.
Coming up against a really bad
So,
defense against Houston's defense. Woo,
yep.
man.
One of the guys I did put on here, Devontae Parker, he's 49% rostered.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, he had a heck of a game this last week.
Yeah, he did.
Mark Ingram's one of the running backs I put on here. He's 37% rostered. You're probably not starting him, but if Kamara goes down, and we've seen so many injuries this year,
It would not be surprising.
Mark Ingram, he looked good in the Saints uniform.
Yeah.
He didn't look anything like he did with Houston.
He's wearing the mirrored reflection of Kamara's 41, number 14, if you didn't notice. Can I add one, though?
Yeah, we'll let you have one.
All right, I'm going to add one right now. Because it's kind of breaking. I know you probably didn't have time to update the doc. Adrian Peterson might be a good pickup just to hold on to for now.
Yeah, this is one I was going to talk about at the end.
Oh, sorry.
And we'll talk about that one a little bit more in depth, because I think that one's...
It's risky.
It's a muddied watered situation.
We'll see.
But, yep, I also have Tajay Sharp on here.
Mm-hmm.
According to Sleeper, he was 0% rostered.
That makes sense.
But in the 2 games Ridley has been out, he's had 5+ receptions and 50+ yards in each game. So he's definitely... I'm picking him up, but I'm probably not starting him right away.
Mm.
And then I got 2 tight ends on here. Pat Freiermuth, 25% rostered. He scored double-digit fantasy points in his last 2 games. And 3 of the 7 they played so far.
Not too shabby.
And you can see it. He's starting to get Roethlisberger's trust.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And the other one I wanted to add on here, Dan Arnold. 12% rostered. And I believe he led Jacksonville in targets and receptions this last week.
Wow. That offense scares me, though, in Carolina in the end.
Well, he's in Jacksonville.
Oh, crap. Yeah, you're right.
But that's the offense scares me too.
yeah.
But
Especially
tight ends, it's hit or miss for most of them. So
especially with Robinson hurting.
So we'll talk about quarterback and defensive streamers after. So I've changed this up. Instead of adding a quarterback to the waiver wire ads, I'm making it more of a streamer type thing.
Good call, especially in redraft leagues.
But Ryan kind of brought up one of the biggest things that came up today. Derrick Henry, for fantasy football purposes, he's done for the year most likely.
Yep.
6 to 10 week time frame.
There's only 9 weeks left.
He's probably done for fantasy football. He could be back for the playoffs for the Titans though.
Yeah, that's important for them, and I hope he's okay. But
now
surgery tomorrow, I think they said.
I think he actually had it today.
Was it today?
I can't remember. I've seen so many notifications
Yeah,
about this one situation in particular.
Man, it was such a busy day at work. It was kind of just glance and go.
But yeah, as Ryan kind of mentioned, Adrian Peterson, who they just signed, they signed him to the practice squad. He's going to be elevated to the active roster by the end of this week. But Jeremy McNichols, right?
Yeah, he was the number 2 guy.
There's not going to be one replacement for Derrick Henry, and this team could become more pass heavy now.
It could certainly.
And Adrian Peterson is more like Derrick Henry, where he's the ground and pound.
Right.
McNichols, he is the clear receiving back.
Mm-hmm.
And then we don't know. Tomorrow's the trade deadline. Tuesday, just in case you're listening to this on Tuesday or whenever.
November 2nd is the trade deadline. I think it's 4 p.m.
Yeah, 4 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
And who knows? Maybe they could get a Melvin Gordon.
That would be interesting.
I would love for them to go get Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, because they like Javonte Williams so much.
Free Javonte Williams. But yeah, so this is a muddy picture. I mean, I don't mind, especially in deep leagues, taking a shot on Adrian Peterson, which you beat me to him by like a split second. I was hitting the add button. It's like, this guy's already rostered. Like, what? It was just showing he wasn't.
I had just gotten off a call, too, a help desk call, and I was like, go.
I jumped on my phone as soon as I saw it, and it opened up to one league, and it wasn't our Dynasty League. I looked there real quick, and I was like, okay, back to the Dynasty League. Ah, dang it. But yeah, it doesn't hurt to take a shot on Peterson. He's been...
Well, he's
been effective as a runner.
Here's my thought process. I have Alvin Kamara and Derrick Henry. I need his possible backup.
Oh yeah.
And the guy that has McNichols in our league was like, "Hey man, I'll trade you him." And I was like, "Are you gonna take a third for him? Because I don't have any seconds, and I'm not overpaying for a half season handcuff." I don't know. So he was like, "Yeah, I guess that's true." So nothing worked out. Which kind of stinks, but whatever.
Ooh, and Kadarius Toney and Sterling Shepard are active for tonight.
Well, that was.
It's official that they're active.
Good, because I have Tony.
All right, so we'll move into our QB and defensive streamers.
On my roster.
So I have we'll call it 2.5 quarterbacks here. And it's not because I consider one of these guys a half a quarterback, but it's because we're not sure what his situation is right now.
Health-wise.
Yep. So my first one is Derek Carr. He's 55% rostered, and he's playing against the Giants next week. Derek Carr's been relatively effective. He's had multiple games over 300 yards passing.
Yeah, I mean, they air it out a lot.
And then my next one is Tua Tagovailoa. He's 46% rostered, and we just saw what the Rams did to Houston. Yeah. We've seen what everybody's done to this Houston defense.
You can get yards on the ground, through the air. It's like playing against...
And other than this last game against the Bills, Tua's been darn good.
Yeah, he has.
And then my honorable mention,
But that Bills defense, man.
I know.
That Bills defense is phenomenal.
And then my honorable mention, this is a guy, he's been out the last 2 weeks with a concussion, and I think if he comes back, it is his job in New Orleans, Taysom Hill. Mm-hmm. In his 4 games that he started, he has been no worse than quarterback 13.
Really?
In that 1 week he was quarterback 13, it was a week he didn't have to do anything because that was when the Broncos had all 3 of their quarterbacks out.
Oh, yeah.
They had to start their wide receiver.
Oh, man.
I mean, he's going to be similar to Taysom Hill. Or not Taysom, sorry. He's going to be similar to Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Except I do believe Taysom Hill throws the ball better.
Yeah, I think, he's got a good arm. I mean, he played at BYU, so he had to throw a little bit, a.k.a. a lot of it. But, yeah, man, it depends on how Sean Payton's going to run him in there.
And honestly, we saw it last year when Taysom Hill came in. Kamara was an afterthought. I don't think it's going to be the case this time. Especially with Michael Thomas out right now.
Right.
But the reason I want to bring him up, even if you have a Tom Brady or Josh Allen or something, let's say you just lost Derrick Henry. Pick up Taysom Hill in that Tom Brady, Josh Allen. They could be a trade move for you to get that replacement running back.
I'm going to disagree with you. And here's my reasoning. Taysom Hill, yeah, okay.
I'm not saying it's not risky.
Nobody's going to put up the numbers that Derrick Henry put up at running back. So you can make up some ground at running back, but you're going to give up a lot more ground at QB points-wise. I know you said he's been the 13th at worst in 4 games. That's 4 games.
Oh, I know.
A small sample size.
Well, at the time, that was a quarter of the season.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still a small sample size.
But no, I understand what you're saying. But in the end, it's something that we talked about earlier in the season.
Yeah, grab second QBs in 1 QB leagues.
Not that necessarily, but
just to trade them.
The difference between the number 1 quarterback and the number 15 wasn't all that much. Whereas the running back, there's clear gaps between. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm saying. I'd rather take a shot on streaming quarterbacks and get a good running back that can be a mainstay than I would try to just find luck on the waiver wire for running backs.
Before I make that move, I need to make sure that Taysom Hill is out of the concussion protocol.
Oh, no, I agree. I'm not saying you're going to
No.
do that right away, but I'm willing to pick him up, roster him for a week, and then try to make that trade.
Maybe, yeah. Especially if you're in contention and
Mm-hmm.
need a boost somewhere.
And then, so defenses, I have New England. They're playing at Carolina. And then the Colts versus the Jets. Now, Mike White had, I think they said it was the second best fantasy day in a quarterback's first ever start.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
But-
see that happening because if that was the case, he would be the starter
Oh, I
no
agree.
matter what.
This week was weird because I think 3 of the top 5 quarterbacks,
We're backups.
Mike White, Cooper Rush, and Davis Mills.
Yeah, Davis Mills went crazy, man.
Yeah, he had a lot of garbage time against second string. so that
Yeah, I
helped
mean
him,
that fourth quarter is when they put up all their points. So thank gosh, because I needed Brandon Cooks to do stuff.
Yeah. So we'll start going with our Week 8 recap. So Thursday night we had the Packers at Cardinals. The Packers won 24-21. We talked about this a little bit on Dynasty Saturday. Not gonna pound in the AJ Green snafu. But neither quarterback this game.
That's
I was
AJ
gonna
Green.
say more.
My disappointment is immeasurable,
Yes,
and my day is ruined.
yes.
That one probably fits more than your fail.
Yeah, because that touchdown would have really helped me.
But yeah, neither quarterback really had a good game. Fantasy
No,
wise.
that's the weird thing. I looked at the point differential. I think it was only like 4 or 5 points. I was like, oh, I can live with that, knowing that I trade away Rodgers and CEH and Calvin Ridley.
Yep. Now, I want to say the big surprise here was the A.J. Dillon at Aaron Jones workload,
It's about 50-50 right now.
at least with rushes.
Yes.
Dillon had 16 carries, 78 yards, but Jones had 15 carries, 59 yards, and a TD, and he had 7 receptions on top of that.
Well, I mean, you just look at their builds, and A.J. Dillon, man,
Oh, yeah.
he's just a workhorse. He might be a little too thick. not as agile as Aaron Jones to get out there and catch the rock.
Yeah, Robert Tonyan, he tore his ACL and is out for the year.
Sucks.
Yeah. As for that, there's not much to talk about the Packers because this offense wasn't the true Packers offense.
No, the fact that Randall Cobb had 3 receptions for a total of 15 yards and 2 touchdowns. It was a weird night. Weird night, but
So-
hey, man.
Yeah, on the other side, Edmonds and Connor, it's
Still time.
they're touchdown dependent running backs, I believe.
Yeah, at this point in the season.
Edmonds at least gives you a little bit of passing game work.
If you're going to have either one of these guys, it's going to be Edmonds.
And I don't know if you're going to agree with me on this one, but if you have DeAndre Hopkins, it might be time to try to trade him.
Yes, I agree.
He's hurt in and out a lot these last 2 years, and he's touchdown dependent. So he's still putting up decent numbers, but you could probably get a haul for him just based off of his name.
Well, let's look at it this way. I mean, he had 2 receptions, 66 yards. AJ Green had 5 receptions for
But
50 yards.
Hopkins
so-
got hurt early in the game. They're not going to put him back in. Apparently, he grabbed his helmet and snuck on the field in that last drive to get that second catch.
Very nice. Yeah, I mean, he's a great athlete if he can stay healthy. But that, and the fact that there's so many weapons on this Arizona team.
Oh, yeah. This ball got spread around. 5 receptions for Green, 4 for Kirk, 4 for Ertz, 3 for Moore.
3 for Edmonds as well.
Yeah. So, honestly, I don't know that I want to trust one of these receivers because you never know who's going to go off in what game. But if I have DeAndre Hopkins, I'm trying to trade him away.
Yeah. I mean, at this point in the season, I'd rather have Brandon Cooks than DeAndre Hopkins.
Wow, it just occurred to me how long this list is.
Yeah, can we shorten it up a little bit?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, our next game, we had the Panthers at the Falcons. The Panthers won 19-13. All because Ryan said he's never picking the Panthers again.
I stand by it.
Sam Darnold, he left this game with a concussion. PJ Walker didn't do much of anything.
Nope.
You're not starting either of these guys.
Nope.
Chuba Hubbard, you're starting him until CMC comes back.
Yep.
But when CMC comes back, do not drop him.
No, this one's so long because you have 2 games in here.
Do I?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't split it up.
Yeah, still.
Okay, I see now.
Still roster Hubbard. Definitely, because I think they're going to try to keep CMC a little bit healthy.
DJ Moore, 4 receptions, 59 yards. And I think he was one bad drop away from a touchdown, too. Mm-hmm. Amir Abdul was kind of interesting. 8 carries, 31 yards, 3 receptions, 35 yards. Mm-hmm. I think he's a little bit closer to the receiving back than Hubbard.
Yes.
And then Matt Ryan. Dude, did you see his hand?
No.
He got stepped on by like a 300-pound lineman. His hand was cut up, and he had to wear a glove on his hand.
I've been there, man. It hurts. It hurts real bad.
But, I mean, he was 20 for 27, 146 yards, 1 TD. But the big news on this side, on this team, Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Hey, Jers, we'll get to you. I hope I said your name right. Jers, after we get through this recap of Panthers-Falcons, I'll reach out. I'll mention Tony.
But, yeah, this offense is going to be weird without Ridley. We mentioned Tajay Sharp. He's been the leader. Russell Gage, he ran 20 routes. Not one target.
Ah, man, the guy...
Pitts is drawing the number 1 cornerback now that Ridley's gone.
Yeah, that sucks for me. But, I mean, Olamide Zacchaeus, the guy that had one crazy game last year, put up 40 points, hasn't been heard of since. I mean, what happened, dude?
I mean, I'm probably staying away from this game unless it's Patterson and Pitts. And even Pitts, I'm kind of downgrading a little bit because I don't think he really knows how to handle these number 1 DBs yet.
He's young and he's not used to it at all.
So, Ryan, do you want to give your projection on Tony tonight?
I think with the Chiefs' defense is flaky at best. If they don't get pressure on the quarterback, I think Jones is going to have plenty of time to get through his progressions and his reads and find the open man. Tony seems to be a favorite. I think you said Shepard's playing tonight?
Yeah, Sterling Shepard and I think Darius Slayton.
I mean, he's going to have people to take the eyes off of him. I think he has a good night. I don't think he's going to go for 30. I hope he does, even though I don't need it. I'm sure managers out there somewhere do need it. I think he's going to have a good game. Probably 6 or 7 targets. Maybe, I don't know. He has the potential to break them. So, yardage-wise, I don't know. I would say keep your expectations low right now. He's still a rookie. But I say your floor is probably 10 points, and a great game is probably 20+. So, I mean, I would rather see 10 receptions, 75 yards, and a touchdown. But I don't know. I don't know their game script, but I wish I knew the script of all these offensive coordinators and teams heading into the weeks, because then I could really pick my roster better. But
All right.
I think he's gonna have a decent game.
So our next game, we had the Dolphins at the Bills. This is a close game up until about halftime. Miami ended up losing 11.
No, it was tied 3-3 at halftime.
Yeah. Buffalo ended up winning 26-11. And Josh Allen, if you looked at his points at halftime, it was not good. He turned it on in the second half. And we mentioned, too, as a potential streamer.
Yeah.
It wasn't a terrible game, but it wasn't a great game. He didn't cost you your week.
Man, that offensive line is so poor.
Yeah, I'm not starting either of these running backs still.
No.
Gaskin, he's hit or miss, and it's just... It seems like he goes off, you start him the next week. He doesn't do anything. So you bench him, he goes off, and back and forth.
No, it's almost like as soon as you bench him, he has that breakout game, and you're like, oh, okay, I can trust this guy again. And then he doesn't do anything until you put him back on your bench.
But, I mean, Parker, Gesicki, and Waddle, I do think are solid plays still.
Yeah, I mean, Parker, 16.5 points if you do a 1-point PPR league, non-standard scoring. But, man, Parker, he's available out there. I might make a move for him.
And then Josh Allen, you're not benching him unless he's on a bye.
No.
Moss and Singletary, it was a true split, but I think other than receiving. Moss actually had 6 receptions, and I think Moss is the guy they're going to lean on more.
Moss is still a low-end RB2, high-end RB3. You're only playing him in the flex unless you absolutely have to play him in your RB slots. There's no way I would trust Moss. I have him. I don't know how I got him, but I got him.
I was kind of surprised to see Beasley was the wide receiver that went off here. 10 receptions, 110 yards. We mentioned a couple weeks ago that it was the week for non-quarterback passes.
Yeah.
This week was even crazier.
Yeah, that was like...
Beasley went 0 for 1 passes. But Diggs had a good game. 5 receptions, 40 yards, 1 TD. Keep an eye on Dawson. Dawson Knox, though, they said I think he's day-to-day from here on out.
Well, I mean, Sweeney had a pretty decent day. I mean, that's a respectable day for a tight end. Not what you want, but... Hey, and Gabriel Davis, man, he's starting to come alive. And
I think this is really his first game, and Miami's not a good defense.
No, but to see the young guy get that many... I mean, at least 4 targets, because he had 4 receptions and 29 yards and a touchdown. That's good news for him, especially dynasty owners. Dynasty managers, sorry. But I think if you have Emmanuel Sanders right now, I think we're seeing the age.
He's a deep play at best. Like
he's
I don't think it was really. I don't think it was an age thing. I just think they kind of shut down the deep pass.
Maybe, man. I know I saw him take 1 shot for him, but other than that, I didn't see anything.
All right, so our next game we had the 49ers at the Bears. Justin Fields finally showed some flashes that you wanted to see, but the Bears still lost 33-22. Did you see the one rush that he had where he made like the whole team miss?
I kept hearing things about it. I didn't actually watch it, but I think he had the reverse field behind the line of scrimmage, and then he just like a bolt, a bullet out of a gun.
I mean, Garoppolo, he's never going to be that huge play guy, but he was good for you this week because he had 2 rushing TDs.
And 300 yards passing.
Yep. Elijah Mitchell, he's going to have games where he disappears because of game script if they're down.
Yes.
But he definitely has a role here. He doesn't catch the ball, but he has 100 yards, I think, almost every game he's played.
Well, he is dealing with a rib injury. I got that notification right when you walked in the house, so we'll keep an eye on that too.
And then Deebo Samuel,
Yep.
6 receptions, 171 yards. And I think one of the Garoppolo touchdowns was actually there was a 30-something yard pass to Samuel where he got tackled at the 1.
Yeah, I mean Debo, he's also dealing with an injury. I don't remember what it was exactly, but Samuel, he's really turned it on this year, huh?
Oh yeah, and the good news is they are expecting to have Kittle back next week, at least starting to practice.
Okay.
As for the Bears, Fields finally had a game where he was usable, where he helped win you a game.
Yeah, I mean, 19 of 27, 175 yards and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the interception isn't going to kill you, but then 103 yards rushing and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably up in the top 5 this week of quarterbacks. Maybe top 8.
Yeah. And then Khalil Herbert, 23 carries, 72 yards. He has a run game role until Montgomery comes back. He's the only one I'm really considering starting consistently from the Bears.
Yeah, I mean, we need to see more from the receivers in the passing game, but I mean, Herbert's a solid floor. So.
Definitely. And I think even when Montgomery comes back, he's carved himself out somewhat of a role.
Yeah, but I wouldn't play him when Montgomery comes back.
No, unless it's a deep league where you absolutely need him, like a dynasty league.
Yeah, I would definitely keep an eye on it, though.
All right, so our next game, we had the Steelers at Browns. Pittsburgh won 15-10, but they almost cost themselves the win, running a fake field goal and getting their kicker lit up and hurt for the game.
I mean, it's not funny, man. You don't want to see people get hurt, especially a poor kicker that's not used to getting hit.
No, I saw a tweet. It's like, you think you can hold your own in the NFL? You'd be like Chris Boswell getting hit.
Yeah, probably. I know I could not.
Oh, I know.
Even when I was training every day, playing Division III football, there's no way I could play in the NFL.
Yeah. Roethlisberger, he had a decent game. He's probably someone I'm not starting unless I absolutely need to.
Nah, this isn't the...
Najee Harris, he's a mainstay in your starting lineup.
Yep, he's an RB2 at least.
Chase Claypool, he actually had 2 carries for 16 yards, and he had 4 receptions, 45 yards. And Johnson, 6 receptions, 98 yards. Both those guys are playable. I'm hesitant on Claypool.
Yeah. And Johnson just has a high ceiling, but a low floor.
And then Freiermuth had 4 receptions, 44 yards, and a TD. Thing is, though, Gentry came out of nowhere and was vulturing. He's
He only had 3 receptions, though.
yeah. And then as for the Browns, Mayfield, when he's in there, they have a spark.
Yes.
Like, he's not startable for you in fantasy, but he is a spark for this offense.
If Mayfield's running the offense, it's a better forecast for your other position players.
Mm-hmm.
Like Chubb and Hunt.
On an unrelated
Landry.
note, last night Ryan wanted to be like Baker Mayfield and hand out nachos and cheese for Halloween.
I ended up handing out little packs of football cards. I buy football cards and try to get those big hits to make myself instantly rich. And what I do is instantly make myself poor because football cards are expensive. But I had a bunch of cheap cards left over and not completing my sets. And I made little 9 and 10 card packs and just handed them out with the candy. Apparently it was a big hit. Apparently a lot of the neighbors reached out to my wife and said, "Hey, that was a great idea. Thank you for that."
Yeah. Nick Chubb, he was kind of held in check. And not only that, Johnson, I mean, he had 4 carries and 1 reception, so he wasn't as big of a factor as I thought. But Nick Chubb, 16 carries, 61 yards. The Steelers' defense still is pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Jarvis Landry, 5 receptions, 65 yards. He did lose a fumble. I think he's the only receiver on this team that you can start consistently. And these tight ends, any one of them can show up at any time.
You're avoiding them and hoping 1 or 2 of them get traded, so the others values them.
I think Njoku's contract is done after this year.
Well, I mean, he could land somewhere else that's tight end needy. So, I mean, any of these guys, they're great. They're great, but there's just too much of a timeshare there.
Brian's been somebody I've been stashing at the end of rosters in dynasty leagues if I could.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't blame you.
All right, so our next game.
How about this one?
Jalen Hurts had his first bad fantasy game.
But they killed the Detroit Lions.
Well, it was back. He got benched in the 4th quarter because they didn't need him. Philadelphia won 44-6 over Detroit. Hurts only threw the ball 14 times, 103 yards, but he had 7 carries for 71 yards.
Not a great day, not a bad day.
This running back room is a mess.
Yeah,
Boston Scott, he carried the ball in the 1st quarter. Howard carried the ball in the 2nd. Gainwell got garbage time, which was kind of confusing there.
Yeah, I mean, Howard was just brought off the dang practice squad, so.
But Howard and Scott both got 2 TDs each, and so that made their day. Other than that, you're not going to see that much from this team. The Lions are a bad defense.
A very bad defense.
Goddard, 6 receptions, 72 yards. He's really the only pass catcher I'm willing to run out from the Eagles.
Yeah, at this point in time. So, I mean, if the Lions' defense is that bad, right? Because we saw that Philly put up 44, the Bengals put up, 37?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. But they held the Ravens in check. And the Bengals held the Ravens in check.
We know how it is, though. Like, a team can come out and compete against anybody on any given Sunday.
Yeah, that's true, but man, maybe the Ravens aren't as good as we thought they were. They are who we thought they were. But yeah,
yep. As
Lions.
For the Lions side of this, Swift, he had a rough day. You're throwing this one out. He's getting a week off, hopefully getting a week healthier. And he's back in your lineup when he's back.
Hawkinson is a clear starter.
Yep, he led the team. He had 10 receptions, 89 yards.
Man, you know what? I have beef with Khalif Raymond. Had him on my bench last week in our Dynasty League. Did really well. And they didn't do anything yesterday.
I warned you against this. I told you I didn't want to put him on my waiver wire ads because one week he's going to go off. Well, and the next week he may not have a single catch.
He did help me against you with 2 TDs.
Yeah, I know.
25 yards, 2 touchdowns.
All right.
2 receptions.
And so other than that, there's really not much to talk about in this game in the Lions.
And here we come. Here we go.
All right, so we got the Titans at Colts next. The Titans won 34-31.
Yeah.
We talked about the news with Derrick Henry. We're not going to labor that more. The thing is,
he played that happened in the first
quarter. He had
quarter.
22 carries on that broken foot.
Yeah. Oh, man. You don't want them to hurt it anymore, and
No.
right now you're in first place. Do you feel comfortable as the coaching staff and to say, hey man, we're okay without you for 10 weeks?
But I mean, the good news is the only difficult team in this division they've
Is
already
the
beat
Colts.
twice.
The Colts?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize they played them twice already.
Yep. As for Tannehill, looking going forward, I'm hesitant to start him right now.
Because Derrick Henry's not there.
I want to see what this offense looks like without Henry.
That's fair.
A.J. Brown, another receiver that threw a pass. He didn't complete it, but it was a smart play. He made something out of nothing and threw that ball out of bounds like a good quarterback would have.
Right.
But he had 10 receptions, 155 yards, and a touchdown.
32 points right there?
Yeah.
If I'm doing the math correctly?
Other than that, I mean, Julio was out.
Again,
There's not much more to talk about on the Titans here.
Westbrook Akine,
Ikine,
he might still be a solid play.
I don't know about that either, though.
Low floor, high ceiling, same thing.
I only know it's a high ceiling.
He got a touchdown.
He did, but a touchdown is not necessarily a high ceiling.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz, he looks fine
Yeah,
out there. 27 of 51. That's not as impressive, but
No.
3 TDs, 2 interceptions, 3 carries, 11 yards, and a fumble. He's a usable piece.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor, 16 carries, 70 yards, and a TD. 3 receptions, 52 yards. They are finally getting him
Well,
work.
Taylor has eclipsed over 100 yards in, I think, 3 straight games from scrimmage. 100-plus scrimmage yards in 3 or 4 straight games, which is good news for managers that have Taylor on their roster. He's starting to become everything that we thought he would be out of college.
You know who's another good target for the Titans? Marlon Mack.
Yeah.
But they're in the same division, so based off of principle, even though I don't think it's going to do that much for the Titans, I don't see the Colts trading them.
No, and I don't think owners really think about that. They're just thinking,
No, they do.
Is this better my team?
I think they
Better
do.
me next year.
They don't want to play or try to help somebody in the division.
Well, they don't have to play him anymore, so.
And then Michael Pittman Jr., 10 receptions, 86 yards, 2 TDs. He had 2 TDs right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, it was the first 2 drives, the first 2 scores of the game. 2 yards, I think it was, and 7 yards. But, man, yeah, off of a turnover. Second came off a turnover. But, yeah, he's looking good, man. He's the wide receiver you want in Indy. Sorry, T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah, he left the game.
Commanders.
They're saying it was concussion, but when he was on the field, it kind of looked like it was a neck injury.
Well, he took a hit. It was either the second or third quarter. And the way he landed on his neck, his head kind of bounced. It was kind of gross looking. Yeah, it looked bad. So
All
we'll
right.
see.
So our next game, the New York Jets beat the Bengals 34-31, and it was not because of the Bengals offense.
No, I mean, the
This-
defense was the anchor this whole season, and they just did not have an answer for Mike White or Michael Carter or Jamison Crowder.
This Bengals offense, though, they kind of flipped the script from their first few games. The first half so far, they were, let's run it, slow down the pace of the game. I think now that Burrow's feeling comfortable, they're back to just gunslinger mode.
Yeah, they've scored over 31 points in the last 3 matchups. You had the Lions, Ravens, and now the Jets. So it's good for people who have Burrow on their rosters. But
You know, one thing that they were saying,
bad
the
for
Bengals
fantasy owners.
managers, it's all good. One thing, though, the Bengals were saying that the Jets were making it a point to stop Chase. They were not going to let Chase beat them. And Chase had one of his worst games. He still 3 receptions, 42 yards, and a TD, and 1 carry for 9 yards. But that kind of opened up the door for at least some Higgins and some Boyd.
Look, if you're
Boyd also threw a pass.
if you're wide receiver needy in a big league, a deep league, Higgins might not be a bad person to go after because he hasn't really been performing all that well, but he's getting a lot of targets every game.
You might be able to get him for a slight discount.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. And the fact that he's getting so many targets, the volume's there, the opportunity is there. It's just whether or not Burrow can, bring the ball down a little bit and stop overthrowing him.
Yeah.
He's had a couple silly drops, but
And then we want to talk about Mixon. I mentioned him in my Dynasty sells, and he finally started to get more of the passing game work.
I would still sell.
Oh, yeah, I'd still sell, and that game might make it so you can sell a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
As for the other side, White's going to remain the starter until Wilson's back.
Bro, he was 37 of 35.
I probably typed that wrong somewhere.
I'm just giving you a hard
I know.
That's insane. That's a quarterback rating of a billion infinity.
He was good.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he went like 32 or 35.
So I mean, regardless, man.
But he had 405 yards, 3 TDs, and the 2 interceptions were not his fault.
No, and the crazy thing is, man, the Bengals defense caused 3 turnovers in that first half. But I mean, I don't know what happened. They scored six consecutive drives, including I think it was 6 touchdowns.
And then Michael Carter, he's starting to get some work.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if it's just because of this quarterback change.
I don't know.
He's getting targets now that the quarterbacks have changed. Hopefully Zach Wilson is watching this. Okay, I need to throw the ball to this kid.
Right.
I say kid like they're not the same age.
Well,
or
we are
approximately.
older than
Well, I mean them. Those two.
I need to throw the ball to this guy.
Crowder.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Crowder had a good game. 8 receptions, 84 yards. The running back Johnson, 5 receptions, 71 yards. Moore, 6 receptions, 67 yards. This game, I think it's more of an outlier than anything.
Yeah, I would not trust any of these wide receivers.
Yeah, I think I brought it up to you. The Titans haven't lost a game since they lost to the Jets, and now they've taken over sole ownership of first place in the AFC.
The Titans have?
Yeah.
No.
So maybe that just means the Bengals are just going to go on a huge run here.
Yeah, I hope so.
Until the Jets beat the next team.
I mean, I hope so. What we got a game week 9 and then week 10 bye.
Something like that.
Yeah.
This next game, there's really not going to be a lot to talk about. The Rams won 38-22 over the Houston Texans.
Henderson, great game. Michelle had a pretty solid game. Cooper Kupp, another great game.
I think the whole fourth quarter were backups.
Yeah.
Robert Woods, I wanted to bring him up. He's been better as of late.
Mm-hmm.
But his targets, they're still kind of dropping. I would try to trade him while his stock is a little bit higher.
Good luck.
I'm not saying it's going to be tough. And I'm not saying sell him for pennies on the dollar.
No, get what you can. Get
Get
what you're
fair
comfortable
value,
with.
but
Get what you're comfortable with.
try to sell him if you can. 'Cause with his targets, he's basically been a touchdown-dependent wide receiver these last few weeks.
Yep. After a very slow
And
start.
Higbee, he should be having more touchdowns than what he's getting. There's going to be some positive regression for him.
Hopefully.
Davis Mills, 29-38, 319 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1 fumble.
But most of that came
Garbage
against
time.
backups.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even with Ingram being gone, you want to avoid this backfield.
Mm-hmm.
Burkhead had 4 carries and a pass. Phillips had 5 carries. Lindsey 3, Johnson 2. And none of them dominated the passing game either for him.
No.
And honestly, I've been talking up Cooks for a lot this year. Try to trade him if you have him.
Really? He's one of my buys.
Yeah, he was one of your dynasty buys. I'm saying try to trade him for this year because his value might go up with Tyrod Taylor, but I don't know that I really want to trust this Texans offense at all.
I'm going to disagree with you right there because Brandon Cooks has scored he's scored 20 points or more in all but 2 weeks. 3 weeks. That's pretty good from
it is
wide
good.
receiver.
But my question is he going to be able to sustain this?
Yes.
This offense is bad.
Yes.
Fair. And I said earlier this year, there's thought that, okay, maybe I want the number 1 passing option on a bad team instead of the number 3 on a good team.
Yeah, and right now I'm running CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks, and I am okay with that.
Fair. Personally, I'd be trying to see what I could get for him. I'm not saying like sell him on the cheap.
I just don't think anybody's willing to give up Cooper Kupp for Brandon Cooks, and that's what I would do.
No one's going to give up Cooper Kupp for Brandon Cooks.
That's what I'm saying.
Cooper Kupp is the number 1 receiver in the league right now.
You're not going to get a better wide receiver straight up for Brandon Cooks.
And I'm not saying you're going to get a better receiver, but maybe you can get a close receiver with a flex play running back or something like that.
Nah.
It just kind of depends. Our next game, Patriots at Chargers. Patriots won this one 27-24. We didn't get to watch much of this one because we were out handing out candy at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember seeing, like, the Patriots had the ball late in the game. Chargers somehow got it back, scored, and almost got it back again. Mac Jones, he's not a fancy, viable quarterback still, I don't think.
Not yet. He had a really low completion percentage
But
this week.
he's probably looked the best of all these rookies.
Yeah, I mean, he's the most consistent, best record.
Damian Harris, he's starting to take this job as the sole running back that you want to roster.
Yep.
As for this receiver-wise, it's spread too thin.
Yeah, I still think you're avoiding it.
And then Justin Herbert, ever since his 50-point game, he's done nothing really. And you thought he'd have a good week coming off a bye this week.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Jackson had 3 carries, 79 yards, but I think 70 of that came on 1 carry.
He sounds about right, yeah.
Austin Eckler, he went from not practicing to having a good game. 11 carries, 64 yards, and a touchdown, 6 receptions, 60 yards.
Keenan Allen had a good game, too.
Yeah, Keenan Allen, he was actually somebody I was banking on having a good game.
Mm-hmm.
6 receptions, 77 yards, and a TD. Mike Williams, I'm not saying he's a bust now, but based off of where you drafted him, everything's gravy with him.
Yeah, I think he was taken pretty low.
And even this week, I mentioned on the shadow, like the wide receiver shadow stuff, he was going to be shadowed by one of the better cornerbacks.
I think better days are ahead. I mean, this is an outlier bad game.
I think better days are ahead for this whole offense.
He's the clear number 2 wide receiver there.
1A, 1B. I wouldn't even call him a number 2 right now.
That's fair. He just had an off day. And it's frustrating when you're depending on these projections to be remotely close, and if not you want the projections to be too low so that your guys are scoring higher than that.
I don't even look at the projections for the most
Me
part.
neither. I just kind of go off my gut.
Jaguars at Seahawks. Seattle won 31-7. Again, another game we didn't really get to watch. Trevor Lawrence, he's not really reached the redraft startable phase. He might be like a streamer.
Right.
The funny thing is, after the games yesterday, we're like, okay, Derrick Henry's good to go. James Robinson's something to keep an eye on. After today,
Complete reverse.
yeah, complete 360 or 180 on that.
Well, bruised heel, I don't know what a bruised heel
I don't think it's a
feels
bruised
like.
heel anymore. They're saying it's more of an ankle issue.
Okay, well, keep an eye on it. He's day to day. That was the last update I heard.
If he doesn't play, I think Hyde is actually a decent option.
Yeah, and
He did have 9 carries, 32 yards, but the big one, 6 receptions.
Yeah, he's not rostered.
And then the 2 leading receivers, this one was surprising. Dan Arnold, 8 receptions, 68 yards. He had 10 targets. Jamal Agnew, 6 receptions, 38 yards, 1 TD, and 12 targets.
Well, where's Marvin Jones and LaVisca?
Jones had 6 receptions for 35 yards, but
Dang, man.
LaVisca's just not being utilized.
I think it's the coaching change, man.
I think
They
that has
want their
to-
guys to be the studs.
Yeah. And then as for the Seahawks, Geno Smith, 20 of 24, 195 yards, 2 touchdowns. You're probably not starting him, but this was a good game. And Alex Collins, he's the running back there, but I'm not sure you're wanting to start him right now.
No. Not until Russell's back.
And good news, Tyler Lockett managers, you don't have to make a decision on him next week. He can't disappoint you because you bench him, he does not goes off, or you start him and he does nothing because he is on bye.
Tyler Lockett?
Yep. But he had 12 receptions, 142 yards.
Yeah.
I think I saw a meme, like, you know, like where they have a guy like sweating, getting ready to push a button, like the 2 buttons. It was like one turn invisible, and then the second one's like go off for 142 yards. And it's like Tyler Lockett.
Ghost them or go crazy.
Mm-hmm. And then DK Metcalf had a decent game too, 6 receptions, 43 yards.
I still think right now Geno he prefers Lockett. So I think Lockett's the safer play, but at the end of the day, it's Tyler Lockett and DK.
That may be a moot point at this point, though, because Pete Carroll, I think, said that
Yeah, Russell
Wilson's playing in 2 weeks against the Packers.
Okay.
All right. Our next game, the Washington football team at the Broncos.
Another weird game.
Denver won 17-10, but Washington had a chance to tie this up late in the game.
Twice.
Yep.
Because they missed on 4th and goal, and then they somehow got the ball back.
Yeah.
And then they
We're watching the game cast on ESPN on our phones.
while handing out candy and football cards to little trick-or-treaters. And
but Heineke, it wasn't a bad game. He did have 2 interceptions, though. But Rivera said that he's their starter.
Mm-hmm.
I think next week is when we hear more about Fitzpatrick. I think that's when he's getting his MRI. The thing here, though, this running back room, Gibson, he's hard to trust. And I know it's shin splints, it's fractures in the shins.
He's just hurt, man.
Yeah, but Jarrett Patterson, somebody Ryan was beating the table for before the draft.
I said this guy needs an opportunity somewhere. He's
Yeah,
starting to get it.
Yep, he had 11 carries for 46 yards. But really, the running back to start in this team,
It's McKissick.
J.D. McKissick.
It's the PPR value, man.
Yeah, he had 8 receptions for 83 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And, other than that, there wasn't really a standout wide receiver here.
No, I mean, McLaurin had a down game. Humphreys had an okay game. DeAndre Carter
3 receptions, 51 yards, and a TD.
had easily the best game out of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Steering clear of Bridgewater.
Yeah, you're starting McLaurin, and maybe McKissick, but that's about it from this team.
Mm-hmm.
As for the Broncos, Bridgewater, 19-26, 213 yards. He's not going to cost you the week, but he's not going to win you it.
I mean, he's very efficient. It's a good passer completion percentage.
Yep, and if you started Melvin Gordon this week, you're relatively happy. It was still timeshare, but he got 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Jerry Jeudy comes back, and guess who leads the team? Tim Patrick. These targets, they were relatively spread even. I haven't really gotten to see much of Jeudy, but I think they're getting close to kind of fully opening him up.
Yep.
And then Albert, I can never say his last name, so it's Albert O.
Albert Obiki.
He actually was the better tight end of him and Fant.
Yeah.
So I'm probably avoiding these tight ends if I have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And this, I was gonna say the Sunday night game, and I didn't actually put the score on here. I just noticed that. The Saints beat the Buccaneers. I don't have the score, but Tom Brady, he looked human at the end of the game.
38-27.
At the end of the game, Tom Brady had a chance to drive to win it, and he almost throws an interception. He's like, okay, that's an outlier. Next play, what does he do? He throws an interception.
Pick 6.
That being said, he's been the number 1 QB on the year. He's still Tom Brady.
Yeah, you got to play him, man.
Fournette threw a pass. Didn't complete it.
No.
But he had a down game, and this Saints defense is actually good against the run. They have been for years.
It's interesting to see that he's starting to get more work in the passing game, though.
Yeah. Godwin, you always start the receiver opposite of Marquise Lattimore. Marshawn Lattimore, yeah. Sorry. Godwin, 8 receptions, 140 yards, and 1 TD.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Johnson, somebody I brought up a couple weeks ago, 5 receptions, 65 yards. And that's probably dealing with Antonio Brown out and Rob Gronkowski leaving early.
Yeah.
Cyril Grayson. Yeah, Cyril Grayson, 1 reception, 50 yards, and a TD. And then Mike Evans, he bailed you out with a TD, 2 receptions, 48 yards, but that's not the kind of game that you're
hoping for.
Yeah, but we talked about that was going to be one that we were likely going to see.
I mean, Lattimore was covering him, right?
Yeah.
And Lattimore shut him down pretty much his entire career.
Yeah. As for the Saints, Trevor Siemian came in relief of Winston. And the funny thing is, Tom Brady threw more than 2 quarterbacks combined. Neither of these guys actually turned the ball over. And Kamara, 19 carries, 61 yards, a TD, 3 receptions, 15 yards. Not the Kamara game you're hoping for, but it's not one that's going to kill you.
It was serviceable.
Ingram, we mentioned him. He's not going to have the standalone value right now. They may work him in a little bit more. But 6 carries, 2 receptions. Other than that, you're not trusting a pass catcher from the Saints.
Not yet.
You're really hoping you can trust Michael Thomas.
Really hoping I can trust Michael Thomas to really get this passing game.
I have not heard an update on him. The weird thing is, we saw a tweet yesterday.
He's supporting Calvin Ridley, so
He knows what it's like or something like that. So I don't know.
I don't know if we'll see him back this year.
Last game on Sunday night, the Cowboys at the Vikings. I can't remember the score. I didn't put this in here either. But the Cowboys did beat the Vikings.
Was it like 2017 or 21-17?
Cooper Rush, he had himself a game.
Yeah, not bad.
Zeke, not the game you're hoping for, but it is still decent. 16 carries, 50 yards, 4 receptions, 23 yards. Pollard wasn't terrible for you, but he's not starting.
I mean, you can't start him, but I mean, 7 receptions, 26 yards.
Did you hear what happened on that last touchdown play?
No.
So I guess they were in the huddle and they were talking about it. And Cooper's like, I think I should get this touchdown. And Lamb's like, no, it should be me. So I guess the play was originally called, like both receivers are on the left side featuring Cooper. And Lamb's like, I think it should be on, I can't remember the terminology he used. It should be on the right side, which would feature Lamb. Cooper's like, nah, man, that's me. But both.
Well, I wish it was Lamb because I
was happy it was Cooper.
Yeah,
we know I have Lamb in multiple leagues.
Congratulations on the median.
It's not guaranteed. I have to hope for the Chiefs to do well. 2 Chiefs at least.
Well, they could. It's the Giants.
But both of them had good games. You can't be disappointed with either of them.
No.
And
Lamb still finished with, I think, 20
Cedric
points.
Wilson.
Coming out of nowhere.
Not out of nowhere. He's been out there. He's been producing.
I wonder if he's owned in our Dynasty League. Probably. He's got to be.
I don't think he is.
Really?
I think he's been picked up and dropped before, but he actually threw a pass, and I think he has a decent arm.
I think I have him.
But this is a guy, 3 receptions, 84 yards, and 1 TD, and I just had a Chris Collins moment. This is a guy. The Chris Collins one.
No, this is a guy you can take home to your parents.
It's not Wilson's. It's not his lack of playmaking ability that's keeping him off the field.
It's just the weapons.
Yeah, it's Gallup, Cooper.
Zindan has Cedric Wilson now.
As for the Vikings, Cousins, he had an off game.
Yeah,
it was typical primetime Kirk Cousins.
Mm-hmm.
But Dalvin Cook, 18 carries, 78 yards. The weird thing was no passing work there.
No.
Alexander Madison, we saw him on the field, but he only had 4 touches.
We're starting to see his standalone value drop.
Yeah. Thielen, 6 receptions, 70 yards, 1 touchdown. Tyler Conklin, 5 receptions, 57 yards. But I think I saw something that he was hurt and likely going to be out this next week.
Oh.
And then Justin Jefferson, he threw a pass, didn't complete it.
Only 2 receptions.
But 2 receptions, 21 yards. That's a rarity for Justin Jefferson.
Really, I think the only 3 you're still playing right now is Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, and Justin Jefferson. Yes.
And Conklin's a touchdown-dependent tight end.
Yeah. I mean, still, 10.7 points if you without the tight end premium. It's 13.2 with the tight end premium. That's not bad at all.
All right, so we'll preview the Thursday night game, the Jets of the Colts. Honestly, you can try putting Carter out there, but the Colts actually have a really good run defense.
Yeah, I'm trying to sell him for a 2023 first.
As for the Colts, though, you're starting Pittman, you're starting Taylor. I'd be willing to start Wentz here. And if T.Y. Hilton... Well, actually, T.Y. Hilton's already been ruled out.
Yeah.
But Pascal's been having some decent games. He could be a dart throw wide receiver out there.
Avoid the tight ends. Avoid Mo Alley and avoid Jack Doyle because you never know which one's going to have the hot hand. But Doyle does rule. Doyle rules!
Mine, every time Doyle touches the ball, Doyle rules! And they actually did it on the broadcast last night.
It was great.
So, leading to that, do you want to make your pick for the Jets at the Colts?
Man. Hey, the Jets surprised the world, shocked the world. But, hey, this Colts defense is good.
Mm-hmm.
This Colts offense is starting to click.
I think this Colts team's better than the record shows.
Yeah, they've had a really tough start to the season. But I'm going to go with the Colts this week.
Dual rules.
Rules.
I'm going with the Colts as well.
Okay.
All right, we appreciate you guys taking your time to listen to us, competing against us on DFS. We'll talk more on that.
Man, you are kicking my butt. I'm so bad.
Once again, like us on Twitter, Facebook, subscribe and like on YouTube.
Instagram.
Anything helps us out. It helps get
Anchor.
this out there more.
If you want to listen to us and not look at us, Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts. There's another one. I'm missing one.
There's a few of them out there. Everything pretty much but Apple Plus or Apple Podcasts.
Yeah. We're on a lot of them, so help us out. Get
Yep.
us out there.
Once again, we'll see you guys on Thursday, and we plan on doing a Dynasty Saturday as well.
Heck yeah, and this Dynasty Saturday will be actual prospects. We both worked on updating the spreadsheet and everything, so should be a good time.